G'day, battlers, and today we are jumping back into the Sylph Arena to take a look at an early Naiad Cup tournament sweep, this time at the hands of Misa76, one of the Aussie girls at PvP out here. And now, this isn't any tournament sweep though, this is stacked. They're taking on two legend-ranked battlers from the previous Sylph Arena season, who were both World Championship competitors, and one of them finished the season as the #1 ranked battler in the world in the Sylph Arena. So, to say the least, there is some serious competition here that Misa's just about to crush, destroy on the way to that tournament sweep. So this is definitely going to be some good battles to watch. Now, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but if you aren't familiar with the Naiad Cup tournament format, definitely go check out my Naiad Cup Meta Simplified video, linked over yonder, also in the description, assuming I remember, because that'll sort of give you a bit of a preamble about what you can sort of expect, what is the Naiad Cup, and what's sort of good and whatnot. Obviously, we'll be going through a bit of that as we sort of go through this video as well, but that'll sort of, it's a bit of a prequel, and I'd suggest watching that one first, just so you definitely know what's going on as we go through this one. Now, let's take a look at Misa's team over on the right-hand side on the bottom, and you'll see pretty clearly straight from the meta infographic, there's a couple of groups that are definitely making some showings. First off, we've got Lapras representing those ice water types that are mainly here to counter the dragons, and also just provide a little bit of neutral damage as well. Misa has actually decided to go for a little bit of a creative route and not bringing a classic Lapras moveset. They're bringing in Surf and Dragon Pulse. So Dragon Pulse obviously going to just demolish a bunch of dragons out there, but it also actually gives some neutral damage against all of the other Laprases out there that you sort of don't get in the sort of Surf Ice Beam moveset, and just a little bit quicker than having to go up for the Skull Bashes as well, because that can mean you're losing a lot of energy. So this is going for a different tact here. We'll see how it does work out for them, because I haven't really asked how it goes. I mean, obviously Misa's swept the tournament, but I'm not sure how much of that is accredited to the Dragon Pulse Lapras. Now, also got Defense Deoxys here. I did a little bit of a skip through the video to get the movesets, but I didn't see Deoxys at all, so I'm not sure if that's here. But essentially, Deoxys is a little bit of a counter user that's, for one, countering the ice waters that are around, but also giving you a little bit of flyer coverage for things like Altaria. So it definitely has some perks there as well. Then we've got Ledian, a very spicy pick and actually a little bit of a core breaker. Ledian's got access to Aerial Ace and Dynamic Punch, so you can imagine that Dynamic Punch is going to be pretty useful when you've got a bunch of ice types rolling around like Lapras, and a little bit of a sneak peek at the opposing team. There's a Miltank there as well. Dynamic Punch going to do some nice damage there. Aerial Ace, not as useful, but there's definitely bugs running around like Ledian, and I can see Galvantula over on the other side as well. Obviously, Galvantula has the electric type as well, but there's definitely bugs rolling around in the Naiad Cup. I mean, hence the little logo. That's sort of a butterfly sort of looking doobly-doo. But yeah, definitely a bit of a useful moveset, and just really bulky. Bulk is going to be the main name of the game for Ledian. We've got Mew. Mew has a lot of moves it can learn, obviously, and in this cup, my recommended moveset is Dragon Claw for the dragons, and then Wild Charge for all of the ice waters running around as well, which is the exact moveset that Misa's gone for here. So I like that. I'm a fan of that moveset. I think it makes sense, and I think it's really good. And I think Wild Charge gives you a lot of neutral coverage as well. And if anything like Galvantula comes through, you've got Dragon Claw, which still does a fair amount of damage, especially when something is that squishy. Next up, we've got Greedent, and speaking of the opposite of squishy, Greedent is just an absolute bulk fiend, can tank a bunch of stuff, has Body Slam and Crunch, does a bit of damage. And then we've got Altaria, sort of rounding out the crew, Dragon, neutral damage, Flyer, yada yada yada. Now, Misa's team here is essentially really focusing on that bulk. We're coming out of the Ember Cup, which has been very much focused on very squishy Pokemon, very attack-weighted Pokemon, not a lot of bulk going around. Misa has gone for hard swerve around and go for mad bulk on this team, and I definitely I support that, because if we look at Question Master's team jumping into round one, I've got Mew, Galvantula, Scavalier, Miltank, Altaria, and Trash Wormadam. There's definitely a bit more squish over there, like Galvantula, Scavalier. They take a fair bit of damage from pretty much everything, so you sort of have to invest shields a little bit more. So then I think that you sort of have to round that out with bulky picks like Miltank. They can sort of soak up a little bit more damage, whereas Misa has a lot of options in that department. So I think let's just jump straight into the first battle, because I've been rambling for almost 5 minutes now. So let's, hopefully if you just wanted to see the battles, you skip to the timestamp. Okay, let's jump in. Round 1, we've got Mew into Mew in the lead. So if this is the Dragon Claw Wild Charge sort of wombo combo mirror match, then we're just going to see Dragon Claw sort of going back and forth here. They both farm a little bit more energy before throwing the move. Misa burns the shield, and it's actually the Rock Slide, which is a really interesting play. I'm not sure what Rock Slide is for in this meta. Like, obviously it does good against ice types, good against flyers, but I feel like Dragon Claw Wild Charge maybe offers you a little bit better there. It does hit the bugs at the very least, but regardless, after trading shields, we see a swap out into Greedent, and Quest 2 Master swaps into that Escavalier. Now, Misa going for the Body Slam here, definitely not a great move to go for. Maybe was hoping to get a shield out of that Escavalier because that steel typing does resist it. Gonna get this crunch off though, that will do a little bit more damage to that Escavalier and hopefully get that defense debuff. We do see the defense debuff come through, but Escavalier has got the energy ready to go. Goes for the drill run, but Greedent, being that tanky little squirrel, hangs on one more counter of energy for that Escavalier. Now, Mew is going to have to throw the Dragon Claw here to take this Escavalier out before it can get to a move. So throws the Dragon Claw, down goes the Escavalier, and there is still that Mew in the back, and here it comes with the energy ready to go. It's going to be Misa's decision whether they want to keep the Mew or go for the Altaria, and they have opted to let Mew go, bring the Altaria in, and it is Galvantula in the back. This is not the end of the world, because this electro damage is going to be neutral because of the Dragon typing as well as the flying, so Discharge can tank one of those. Not really going to want to take another, but Altaria's got the shield. This Sky Attack is almost certainly going to get that shield out of the Galvantula. And at this point, it's just going to be a bit of a race to take each other out. Here comes the first charge move, probably a discharge, burning Misa's last shield here. Needs to get to one more discharge, and they aren't at it yet, and able to Dragon Breath down, and now going to be able to go for the Sky Attack to take out this Mew before Mew has the opportunity to get a charge move and take Altaria down. Misa taking out the first game with that Dragon damage. And going into game 2, we've got Mew versus Galvantula. This is a very scary because Lunge would do a lot, so a quick swap into Greedent, and here we are again. It is a Escavalier safe swap. Misa going straight for the crunches now, knowing that it is the better move to go for, hoping for those defense debuffs. None on the first one, but here we go again, and I have a feeling that we're going to see a similar thing play out. Greedent going to survive barely after a drill run and then get this crunch off after not going for the body slam on the previous one. Maybe we get a defense debuff on this one. And we do. Not that it really serves any purpose here, but something's going to get like one fast move of farm. Mew actually gets 2 Shadow Claws. But here comes Galvantula again. That's 3 Volt Switches, so up to the Lunge here. Mew has to be a little bit careful. We see if we see a quick swap into Altaria here, and we do. Trying to catch the Lunge, but Quest 2 Master saw it coming, held on, stayed patient, and now bringing in the Altaria. Misa's Altaria does have the energy advantage here, so it was a little bit ahead on energy. But by the looks of it, Quest 2 Master's Dragon Breaths are doing just that little bit more damage to Misa, so a little bit scary here. Shielding up the Sky Attack, wants to get to one more Sky Attack to burn that last shield from Quest 2 Master. At this point, you have to remember that Galvantula is holding on to some energy, and Mew in the back is not going to love it. So I think that Misa really just has to hold onto the shield for that Galvantula. So it just needs to tank this move, whatever it may be. It's probably a Sky Attack, and it is. Just has to take it on the chin. Shadow Claw, try and Shadow Claw down and keep the shield, but here is the Dragon Claw ready to throw onto the Galvantula, which is going to be enough to take it out, and then just one more Shadow Claw, and that Altaria is going down. Misa taking out the game with really good recognition of needing to keep that shield. Game 3 though, Misa mentioned to me they wanted to give Ledian a go, so we're seeing this exact same thing play out. The swap into Greedent, the swap into Escavalier. We know this isn't that bad for Misa, because even though they are going to lose the sort of one-on-one, they're then going to be able to come in and get a little bit of farm on one of their other Pokemon. This time not Altaria, they've got Ledian as the flyer instead. Hopefully that they're not going to have Altaria in the back again, because that could be pretty rough for Misa. But going for the crunch, I guess the defense debuff again. Really lucky with the defense. I mean, maybe not really lucky, a little bit lucky. I guess it doesn't really do much for him. But regardless, going for the Duron here, going to take the Greedent out. Here comes the Mew. Also a little bit scared of the Escavalier, but going for a full farm down by the looks of it. Misa just going all in on the Mew, burning that shield and ready to just unleash energy on whatever Pokemon comes in here. And it is going to be that opposing Mew. So much energy now, just going to go for the Wild Charge. Defense debuff yourself, but do a ton of damage in the process. Brings it down into the yellow. Goes for another Wild Charge there. I think you could have gone for a Dragon Claw, potentially. I'm not certain. But yeah, I think he could have gone for the Dragon Claw. Gets the shield as well. Maybe they were just trying to debuff their defense so that their Mew would just sort of go down. But regardless, Rock Slide comes through to take the Mew out, and he's leading. And it is not Altaria in the back. It is actually Rollout Miltank. So we've got the Dynamic Punch here. So let's find out together how much this Dynamic Punch is going to do. I mean, lead-in is definitely on the bulkier side rather than the attack side, so I don't think it's going to do that much damage. But yeah, okay, that's actually a fair amount of damage, but unfortunately, this Miltank is going to be able to take the lead-in out before it is going to get the chance to get another one of those off. But regardless, we're sort of learning how bulky this lead-in is, so learning taken regardless, and Misa able to take out the round with a 2-1 victory regardless. So really well played by Misa there. Really good recognition of when they need to shield, when they need to keep their shields, and then also where they can sacrifice Pokemon in to get an energy advantage instead of keeping that sort of alignment, I guess. Because I guess it's also a case that there's a lot of Mew acting as a bit of a Swiss Army knife. There wasn't really a hard counter on the other side, so they could sort of happily bring in Mew, get that couple of Shadow Claws of energy, and then be comfortable in whatever Pokemon came back in. Even if it was Galvantula, able to get those Dragon Claws off would like put the threat back on Quest 2 Master's corner. But regardless, able to take out the first round there. And now round 2 up against a bit of a juggernaut in the PvP scene. CEO is a Beast 757. Long-time subscribers of the channel who have definitely seen this name pop up again and again and again. Definitely a very prolific battler here. And you can see his team there. He's got the Altaria, Genesect, Galvantula, Walrein, Flygon, and Mew. So really interesting Flygon pick. I'm not sure what you're really getting with the ground damage. I suppose you're actually countering Galvantula. So you're expecting to see Galvantula, you're expecting to see Genesect, and then also just doing that big damage to the other dragon types while being taken out pretty quickly. So other Pokemon won't get that much of a farm on you, I suppose. But we've also got Genesect here, who I imagine is probably going to be running... Oh, there's a couple of different drives you could run, actually. You could go for the Chill drive to really counter the dragons, or you could go for the, I think it's called, is it Shock Drive, the electric one, to sort of take down the Ice Waters. I feel like Chill Drive is probably the way to go, but I mean, it depends what CO is a Beast has built, and of course, I got the Walrein there as well as some pretty strong anti-Altaria. So we'll see. I think Mew is just going to be coming like every game, every round here, because it is really, really powerful. And here we go. It is Lapras into the shiny Mew on the other side. Here is the Dragon Pulse just rearing its head. So we'll see if Misa decides to sort of try and use that, or just plays it safe, doesn't want to reveal it too early, but going for this Surf really early on the Mew. Does a lot of damage, and then swapping into the Greedent as well. It's unlikely that Mew is going to have anything to do super effective fighting damage here, so sort of just happy to... actually going to burn the shield on the Dragon Claw, maybe thinking that Greedent was going to be a little bit important later on, potentially. I'm not sure what you'd really save it for. I feel like Mew is probably the main Pokemon you want it on, just because you have access to that crunch. But now, going to go for the Body Slam, maybe try and get a shield out of that Genesect, and does get the shield. Really nice play from Misa there. And let's find out what moves this Genesect may be packing, because it does have some options. Goes for the Techno Blast. That is going to hurt. Not going to be super effective there, but still brings it down into the red. And not really doing much damage with the Fury Cutters. So I feel like... I mean, now Misa sort of put themselves in a spot where she is going to be able to farm down this Genesect with something that comes in regardless again. I feel like at this point, because you've got no Mew... Oh, I was wrong with the Mew prediction, by the way. But in comes the Galvantula, so has to swap into that Altaria. Is going to be able to take a discharge, as we saw in the earlier round. But not really loving the situation at all, especially because that Galvantula gets to his charge moves really quickly. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see CO as a Beast burn the shield here, and then we're going to farm up even more energy, because they comfortably can go for the charge moves now. Misa is going to burn the shield. Went for the lunge as well. Really nice play there, and just farming up a little bit more right to the edge at 1 HP there. Now throwing the... Actually, also lunge. Have they got lunge, Energy Ball potentially? Energy Ball for the ice... Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe they're just going for lunge to not reveal in case. I'm not sure here. We'll find out as we go, I suppose. But Lapras having energy for the Surf, able to take it out, and just CO as a Beast conceding there, letting the Genesect go in game 1 of round 2 here. We've got Altaria into Genesect. Definitely good depending on what the drive is. The screen is a little small, so I can't tell if it I can see like a blue thing. I mean, Altaria is just covering it all up. These Need XXS Altaria, please. But there's the Technoblast. Shield didn't go red, so I guess not anything super effective. But regardless, these Sky attacks are definitely going to be adding up. Look at how much damage that does. And now just going to be Dragon Breath all the way down. Is at a shield disadvantage now. Oh no, here comes Walrein. Has to swap out into that Greedent, or else that Walrein was just going to get away with so much energy. Here comes the Body Slam. First one landing onto that Walrein. And then I feel like, I mean, the Bullet Seeds are technically super effective, but, you know, they're not really doing that much damage. But the Icicle Spears are going to come through now. Really, just after a month of Ember, this bulk is just boggling my mind. It's like, wait, Pokemon can take a charge move? Ridiculous. We're getting the Body Slams just slowly going through here while Greedent is taking those Icicle Spears. There's a shield out of the Walrein, which is really interesting. They want to land this Walrein back onto the Altaria, and there was this swap out back into the Mew, who a Crunch would have been really nice against, but Misa was just going straight for the Body Slams here. Just going to go for another Body Slam, actually. Wants to make sure that she can get this damage off onto the Mew. And actually gets the shield as well. I'm not sure if Sea Was a Beast wanted to protect from a Body Slam, or if they just thought that it may have been a Crunch. They may have lost count, etc. But burning that last shield on the Dragon Claw, loses CMP here, but Altaria is going to be able to tank this Dragon Claw before this Sky attack goes through. I mean, a little bit, you would prefer to get a little bit more farm, as this situation always goes when CMP rolls around, but regardless, gets that one Dragon Breath after the Sky attack, and here comes Walrein in the back. Oh my gosh, we're going to see Altaria countering down the Walrein. Altaria is a Walrein counter confirmed. The Sky attack taking it down and taking down round 2 with a 2-0. And here's the Flygon. We've also got Misa bringing in the lead in the back. Quick swap out from Flygon, because that is not where Flygon wants to be against an Ice type for sure. But here comes the Genesect. Going for the Surf here, doing a ton of damage there. I think that might be Shock Drive. That might have been a yellow back on Genesect's back. And does do a lot of damage to that lead-in, but able to tank it pretty nicely there. And then this one, I think, is going to take it out. Oh, no, just an X-Scissor. Okay, never mind. Going to be able to farm all the way down here. Have a nice chunk of energy. Again, not the bulkiest... a very bulky Pokemon. Not a very high attack stat on the Ledian. So this is not going to do much, especially against this. I mean, Flygon's a pretty squishy Pokemon, but still not doing too much there with the Aerial Ace. But here comes Lapras back, and you can see why this Flygon wanted to run straight away before... Going for the charge move though, trying to get some damage off onto this Lapras, but goes down there. And it's actually Walrein in the back. So this is the question. Does Misa finally, in Game 3, reveal the Dragon Pulse? Do they let it go through? Because this isn't Skullbat. Oh, they shield. That is so disappointing. Would have been so nice. Hopefully later in this video, we'll get to see some Dragon Pulses land. Sea Was a Beast would definitely be having some surprise there, for sure. We're going for the Crunch now. Going to go for that defense debuff onto this Walrein. And we don't get it this time. There's still a shield on both sides. Has to be a little bit thinky about whether this is going to be an Icicle Spear or an Earthquake. Is just an Icicle Spear, but now Greedent going to go for the Body Slam to just try and... Because I think 2 Body Slams plus the fast moves are going to sort of bring you over the line. So getting that last shield out of Sea Was a Beast is a really nice. Going to go for another one, but here's a CMP tie. Is going to be able to tank an Icicle Spear if that's all it is, but it is the Earthquakes that is going to take Greedent down. It is now going to be Lapras versus Walrein, and I think it is finally time that we get to see the Dragon Pulse land. And here comes Misa with the round 2 KOing move of the Dragon Pulse onto Walrein. That is just awesome to see. I mean, when's the last time that you've got to see a Dragon Pulse come off from a Lapras? I don't think I've seen one since like Season 1 of Silpharina, maybe Season 2, a Timeless Cup, anyone? But like, it's been ages, and it's really sort of exciting to sort of see these possibilities sort of like start working away in people's heads as we head really quickly into February. So yeah, GG's from Sea Was a Beast, definitely a really strong battler. But now Misa is up against one of the greatest competitors in the world, the Silph Arena #1 ranked battler in the world last season. C. Leonardo 77 competed in the World Championships and now is coming to compete against Misa 76 in the Naiad Cup practice here. Bringing in some really interesting picks as well. Coming in with the Shadow Snorlax, which is eligible. I've seen a lot of questions about that in the Silph Arena Discord, just because it wasn't on PvPoke. I'm not sure if it is now, but it wasn't on the initial PvPoke rankings for the Naiad Cup, but it is eligible. You can use it. And then also bringing in the Shadow Dragonite. So going from like bulky Pokemon with the Snorlax to just mad attack with Shadow Dragonite. Also bringing in the Quagsire, Defense Deoxys, Bronzong, Greedent. This is a really interesting team. And I think it gives us a bit of an early indication that there is going to be a little bit of variety going into the Naiad Cup, which is definitely nice to see because Ember is obviously a very condensed field. Most teams had the exact same 4 Pokemon, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. I definitely played against some mirror teams in my time. I mean, I've still got a couple days left as well. I think my factions match is tomorrow. I should probably prepare for that as well. But anyway, we've got C. Leonardo here. And I think, again, like, Mew is just a really strong Pokemon. It's a little bit harder to use when Snorlax is around. That is a pretty solid counter to Mew. Bronzong takes a lot of damage, though. Defense Deoxys takes a lot of damage. Dragonite doesn't like the Dragon Claws. So I feel like Mew may come back and make a bit of a showing here. But Amiza is almost forced to bring in the Lapras just because of that threat of the Shadow Dragonite. But now Dragonite has access to superpower as well. So it's actually like still scary for the Lapras. So this is definitely going to be interesting to see how Amiza plays through these matches against, again, legend ranked battler, global world championship competitor #1. And we're going with lead-in first Shadow Snorlax in the lead. Tell me you're in the Silph Arena and not in the Go Battle League when you're seeing this matchup going around. We've got the Dynamic Punch going straight away. We'll see if C. Leonardo knows his lead-ins. Does shield up there, so good identification of the moveset here. At this point, our lead-in's pretty bulky, so can probably tank whatever move comes through here. Tanks the Body Slam pretty well, and now lead-in coming up hot and heavy on another Dynamic Punch. So gonna shield up here so that Amiza can get to that Dynamic Punch real quick, smart. And we'll see if C. Leonardo decides to, like, he really wants to protect his Snorlax or not. But we do get the second shield, so a bit of an interesting spot. At this point, C. Leonardo getting a lot of energy here. Wow, able to farm all the way down. That is pretty scary. Doesn't actually have a move to really hurt this Altaria, though. Just going to be going for straight body slams, most likely. Which is going to, like, slowly wheel Altaria down to about half health. But you know, Altaria is going to be able to hang on, and that's probably the most important thing at the end of the day. So, going to take it down into the pretty deep yellow now. And that was the first Pokemon as well. Still have 2 Pokemon to take down. So we've got the Greedent coming out in the back, farming up a little bit more energy on the Altaria, and then swapping into the Greedent. This might be a little bit of a battle of who can get the Crunch debuff, or we'll see if C. Leonardo swaps into something there. I'm not sure if that was a swap, or if I might just be seeing something there, but it goes for the Crunch regardless, and it was not a swap. No defense debuff, though. Actually, we've got different fast moves going on here. We've got Amiza's going for the Bullet Seed, but C. Leonardo's is not running Bullet Seed. I'm not sure if that's... Is that Tackle? Does Greedent have Tackle? Someone let me know. I'll search it up after this. But going for a bit more fast move damage that you can see is definitely whittling away. Catching the Body Slam onto Quagsire, still going to hurt. Like, it's not great. You don't love it, but regardless. Now there's no shields left. This could actually... Can Amiza come back from this? Going for the Moonblast is going to do a lot of damage onto this Quagsire. Ooh, I think he is going to be able to get to a Stone Edge here, though. So this is definitely going to take out the Altaria. But Amiza's still got that one shield ready to go. Going to be able to Dragon Breath all the way down there. Has a Sky Attack ready to throw as well. Amiza somehow able to take this out after losing so much health from the very first Pokemon on the field. Losing all of Leedian plus over half of Altaria's health. Really solid plays, and we're going straight into Dragon v Dragon in game 2. Altaria and Dragonite are going to be doing a lot of damage to each other. You can see that Altaria is slightly outpacing here, but the Dragon Claws come off a lot quicker from the Dragonite. So getting this first shield from Amiza really quickly, but then able to Dragon Breath all the way down. And here comes Bronzong in the back. So it has to swap out there because none of Altaria's moves would be doing much. And Amiza wants to keep the energy for later on, potentially against something that is better to throw a move at, like a Greedent here. So I don't think Amiza is too concerned, actually, about winning this matchup. And may to sort of be whittling away, maybe hoping to potentially get a shield out of C. Leonardo. Not that he really needs to use it. But Amiza's also packing that lead in the back. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So we've got the Body Slams just slowly rolling through, just keep on going, adding that damage after damage after damage. And there might be a potential, like, I guess Amiza potentially, or I will see if C. Leonardo burns the shield here, because they do still have 2. Just gonna let it go, get a little bit more energy on the Bronzong here. But actually, and then just goes, oh, well, I guess I have to use the energy somewhere, and goes for the Moonblast. I feel like Sky Attack might be the better way to go, and you also have the potential to try and get to 2. And you get Stab from Altaria as well. But regardless, we have Bug Bite leading coming in here. Still has a shield, so I think it's going to be an attempted Bug Bite down. Potentially, there's still 2 shields on C. Leonardo's side as well. So really just wants to... This might be a bit of a stall tactic. Try and like the switch timer go up so that Misa can try and catch and move onto the Greedent in the back. But it looks like not even necessary, because I think that Leedian can probably tank any move from Bronzong pretty well. Here's Payback, and yeah, takes it like an absolute champion and gonna Bug Bite all the way down there. Could have left C. Leonardo with a 2 shield flex there, but regardless, coming out on top of the number 1 in the world here, and we've got Altaria in a bit of a worse spot against the Quagsire here. Stone Edges are definitely going to hurt Altaria, so Misa deciding to burn that first shield really quick smart here while going for the Sky Attack herself. Just trying to do some chip damage onto this Quagsire. Not that this is going to take it out either. Does bring it down into the yellow though, and then a swap out into Greedent, keeping that Altaria for later. Now, C. Leonardo has farmed up a bit of energy on that Quagsire, so has to be a little bit careful of that for later before swapping into the Greedent Mirror Match. We've been here before, but again, it goes a little bit differently just because they're going with the different fast moves. Misa focusing in on the energy generation, C. Leonardo focusing in a little bit more on the damage. Which it sort of looks like Misa's actually sort of pulling ahead a little bit here, but we'll see how the rest of this goes. One more Body Slam coming through here. I should have got popcorn or something, because some of these matches, I know that we're returning to bulk away from the Ember Cup squish, but it does mean that we are going to have some long mirror matches in our future over the next month. But anyway, Misa letting that Body Slam come through, getting a couple of Dragon Breaths here to take down that Greedent. That Quagsire has energy, so it is going to be pretty scary here. Wouldn't be too surprised if we... Oh, okay. Quagsire is actually pretty low on health, so I feel like... Okay, going to burn the shield here. May be able to Dragon Breath down, but it's going to swap out into a Dragonite in the back. Going to go for the Sky Attack here to try and take one of those shields off Dragonite. Me's a little bit of a tough spot here because Mew is going to be able to... Well, it is going to take a lot of damage from this Dragon Claw because it is Stab, it is Shadow, it's a lot of damage, but actually doesn't even bring it down into the yellow. And now, are we going to see a Okay, I thought it was like, are we going to see a Shield Dragon Claw... Shield Shadow Claw down, but no, we're going to see the Dragon Claw go through, see Leonardo, keeping that shield for the Quagsire, recognizing that their sort of only possible win con was somehow farming down the Mew and then getting the Stone Edge off onto the Altaria in the back, but able to take it out. Misa taking down the previous season's #1 in the world, the World Championship competitor, the legend ranked battler, C. Leonardo. And straight off the heels of that, off one of the greatest competitors in the Silph Arena, going into another legend ranked battler, another World Championship competitor, Franz with a Z, who is running a bit of a different team as well here, going for Defense Deoxys, who we have not actually seen grace the field yet. Part of me wonders if that is just because Mew is really scary. Mew is a pretty solid counter to Defense Deoxys, so maybe they're just running away, maybe it's just bench pressure, unclear, but Franz with a Z is also running the Galvantula, Whiscash, a regular Snorlax, not Shadow this time, and then Greedent and Altaria as well. So definitely running a lot of bulk here. The Snorlax Greedent combo is pretty scary. Maybe that actually... I was going to say maybe it sort of brings Misa out to bring the Defense Deoxys out to try and take down those two counter users, but they're both doing super effective damage back. Snorlax has Lick, Greedent has Crunch, which I guess is even more reason for people to be too scared to bring Defense Deoxys. So I'm sort of wondering here if we're actually going to see a bit of a meta shift as the meta sort of starts up away from Defense Deoxys, like just not even bothering wasting a team slot, but maybe not. Maybe Defense Deoxys will see mad usage once everyone stops using, I don't know, Snorlax or something like that. But anyway, let's jump into the final round of the tournament. Misa 3-0, going for the 4-0 sweep here. Again, I've sort of spoiled the result with the title already, but hey, we're here anyway, and we're going to see some good battles, and we actually see Defense Deoxys straight off the bat. I did not know that was going to happen, but we'll see how it goes anyway. Deoxys in a pretty good spot. Like, if it was going to be against any of Misa's Pokemon, not a bad spot to be, because you do have that Rock Slide. You are going to be doing that fairly chunky damage to that Flying type Altaria, and not going to be taking too much damage from these Sky Attacks either. So actually going to burn the shield on that Sky Attack there. Defense Deoxys is going to be outpacing the Altaria, so really going to be putting this pressure onto Misa to sort of make the decisions here. See where Fran's sort of scoping out where Misa wants to go with the matchup a little bit, whether they want to go for the 2-shield scenario or what. But going for the Sky Attack, and we've now burned all shields, and it is going to be whether Misa tries to go for some fancy little catch here, but no, we're going to see Friends with the Z able to get this Rock Slide off onto the Altaria. Not going to take it out, so Altaria is actually going to be able to Dragon Breath down here, and then has a lot of energy. See what comes in, and it is the Greedent going for the Moonblast here. There is that debuff potential, which I actually forgot about until now, but it's pretty rare and didn't happen there. Galvantula able to get 2 Volt Switches off, which could be a little bit scary. I think at this point you probably you bring in the Leedian, which is pretty interesting because a discharge is definitely going to hurt. Now let's find out how much a Leedian takes from this discharge. Okay, Leedian is just a bulk fiend apparently, and able to get the Aerial Ace off. I will see how much damage this does back to the Galvantula as well. Wow, I did not expect it to take it all the way out. That's huge for Misa. Like, I think that sealed the game. The fact that Leedian was able to take that full Galvantula's health out. Oh man, I can't English now. It's been a very long video. Like, able to take it all out with that Leedian, and now just has too much of a health advantage against this opposing Greedent. Plus, still has that little bit of a Leedian in the back as well, just in case there was like some, Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate event crunch debuff just spam going on. Able to take it out, and that is first game down against Franz with a Z. Now, game 2, we've got Leedian into the Galvantula here. Still not a good matchup, even though it can do a lot and tank a fair bit there. But regardless, we're going to see the swap into Greedent. Unlike round 1, we're not seeing any swaps into a Escavalier here. So a Greedent sort of acting as a really good safe swap for Misa. Here's the swap to catch the Body Slam here into the Snorlax, I think that was. I'm not going to do a ton of damage, especially because it isn't Shadow. Snorlax potentially going to be packing the Superpower, which I think is probably one of its best moves in this meta, just because, again, all of the Ice Waters, all of the normals, just something really nice to hit all of those with. But the Body Slams are definitely adding up on this Snorlax as Snorlax decides to just keep farming up this energy. I mean, Lick is doing no damage, it's resisted, it's not doing much. But Snorlax farming up a ton of energy. Are we going to see a back-to-back Superpower? Does he have enough energy here? There's the first one, lets it come through, but Greedent hanging on, but no, here comes the back-to-back move. And it doesn't mean that Greedent going to go down here and something is going to get a little bit of farm. That worked out really well in Misa's favor, to be honest, because they were able to sort of soak both moves into the Greedent, which is really nice, instead of having to take like a Body Slam onto Leedian, for example. But now we're going to see a discharge coming through onto Leedian, and we know we can tank it. And there's the quick swap out into Altaria as well. Interesting going for the Aerial Ace here, trying to weaken down the opposing Altaria a little bit before swapping into their own, hoping that that's sort of enough, because we still have 2 shields on both sides. So Misa is actually, because they've gone for that Aerial Ace and landed it, is going to be able to Dragon Breath all the way down, just investing shields. Going for the Sky Attack here to try and get that the first shield out of Franz with a Z as well. Can get it there. And at this point, I think that Misa probably... Oh my gosh, able to get the full Dragon Breath down. That is absolutely massive. And now there's just nothing that Franz with a Z can do. Goes to the Sky Attack just to burn this last shield, but there's really no need. Can just Dragon Breath all the way. Would have been able to burn that shield, and that is GG's on game 2. Misa taking out round 4, but hey, we've got the third battle, and we may as well see it to see what the Naiad Cup has got. We've got Lapras going into the Snorlax here. Not an awesome matchup, but we'll see how it goes. Franz with a Z has not seen the Dragon Pulse yet, so maybe can land it up against an Altaria, but Altaria is still going to be scared of the potential Ice Beam, so I don't know. There's not really too much to surprise here because there isn't a Lapras on the other side, but shields up the Superpower and then going for the Surf. There was a quick swap into Defense Deoxys there from Franz with a Z, so this is still going to do an okay amount of damage, and then swapping into Greedent with that crunch threat. Is it a shield disadvantage? But because Defense Deoxys doesn't have any fighting charge moves, can sort of comfortably, and get the defense debuff as well. Really a good for Misa here, but yeah, able to tank any move from the Defense Deoxys here, so not too worried. Just a Rock Slide, and now going to be able to get another move off. Going for the Body Slam, potentially trying to get a shield, a sneaky little shield out of Franz with a Z, and does get the shield out. This is going to be enough to take the Greedent out though, so going to let Greedent go from Misa's side, and then presumably bring in that Altaria to farm all the way down. Brings in the Lapras. Really interesting here. Going for the Altaria swap in now. We know how this is sort of going to go a little bit in terms of we can tank this first discharge, but then not really going to take another one when you consider all of the Volt Switches. I think we're going for the Sky Take here, which would be enough to take the Galvantula out if it goes through, but burning that last shield on that side. Misa deciding to burn the shield over here as well. Wants to bring this bring this Galvantula down as much as possible. But it was the lunge debuff, the lunge bait coming through. And now Misa's actually in a pretty good spot because this is going to take out Altaria. But Lapras is going to be able to come in, get one fast move of energy, no charge move on that Galvantula side. And now going to be able to get to this Surf on the Snorlax. Oh, but Snorlax gets up to... I don't think this is a super... Oh, it is a superpower. That really hurts. This Surf is going to take these Snorlax out, though. But there is still a Pokemon hanging out in the back, and I don't know that this Lapras with this little health is going to be able to take out the counter using Defense Deoxys. So, in the end, Defense Deoxys, even though I was throwing shade on it in that last round, able to take out the win. But in the end, Misa was able to take out the round and take out all 4 rounds of the tournament against some stacked competition. A lot of battlers that I would definitely be shaking in my pants if I had to battle them. But yeah, with that said, thank you so much to Misa76 for sharing all this footage with us, giving us a little bit of an insight into how the Naiad Cup might go for the next month. I don't know if Dragon Pulse really blew us away at any point in that tournament, but I think that it is definitely a nice move to have, and I think it can be really useful as more people sort of go for the Ice Waters, the Laprases that are around, just so you have that coverage move. And of course, the surprise factor is awesome and can really throw people off that don't quite know, they know their counts, but they don't know how much energy a Dragon Pulse is. I can definitely be a little bit fun there. Lead-In was a really interesting core breaker. I don't think it's a meta-destroying Pokemon by any means, but I think it does have sort of a role in this meta and can definitely be used to pretty good effect. I mean, Misa definitely would not have won some of those games if it were not for Lead-In. That game, one game in particular, able to take out the Galvantula after taking the discharge as well. Just really, Lead-In definitely has a place, although maybe a bit of an expensive one. Mew, I am really getting behind the Dragon Claw Wild Charge moveset. I don't think the Rock Slide is the way to go, even though you're going to be able to hit the Lead-Ins of the world. I just don't think it's really worth it. And then Altaria is just a staple, and I think that most people should probably run Altaria as their Dragon type. I know CO is a beast was bringing in that Flygon, but I feel like Altaria is just... It's got enough bulk that can sort of survive a little bit more. It's got a little bit more to it, I feel. You can tank a lot more body slams and crunches from Ingredient than a Flygon can. But with all that said, yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one. Thank you again, Misa, for sending the footage, and I'll see you in a couple weeks at OCIC. And if you want to get involved with the Silph Arena, with the Naiad Cup, definitely check out silph.gg, join the Discord, and there's some help links on that website as well to sort of get you started, get some information about what the Silph Arena is. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and thank you to my patrons and supporters over on YouTube as well. My camera's on the wrong thingamajiggy. Let me just whoop. Come on. Okay, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, I'll see you in the next one, whatever it may be, and good luck in the Naiad Cup, everybody. Bye.